Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, the Venerable Mang Liaoming. Homage to Master Sakya Zongkong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dupten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today, Arya Avalokiteswara. The mantra. Shimu, Tanzen Katsu, Tutan Siti, Tutan Kama. All Dharma masters, Dharma lecturers, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma teaching assistants, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good afternoon, how do you do?
Aistedo. Sarangai. Hola amigo. Te quiero mucho. Koi ichiban. Shimochi ii. Shumi. Yapi. Purin purin. Konnichiwa.
Today is Mother's Day. So I would like to wish all mothers under the heavens health and happiness. Now I would like to announce for next Sunday, May 18th, at 3 p.m., there would be Ragaraja Homa fire offering ceremony. We have two magnetizing deities. One is Ragaraja and the other one is Gurugule. So Ragaraja is seated on a treasure vase, and the mudra is cross. This is the mudra of Ragaraja. And the mantra, the heart mantra, the shortest mantra.
Hom, cha, zi, hom, ro. Hom, cha, zi, hom, ro.
This deity was transmitted in Hong Kong. And I remember they invited a music group and chanted like this with guitar. Just now made me very surprised. Everything is just naturally. There's no need to force it. No need to ask for it. Lifespan is not about the length, but about the value. Although it's short, but if it is valuable or meaningful, then that's considered a long life. But if you have a long lifespan but has no value, then that's considered short lifespan. So I hope that every one of
沟通
us
的价值。
would be very worthy, very
那礼拜六
worthy.
呢，
And
释
Saturday,
迦牟尼佛举一个比喻，
Sakyamuni Buddha gave an analogy
跟没有眼
without hand and without eyes.
到底开悟在哪里？
Where is the enlightenment?
我回去啊，
Upon going home, I asked everyone,
下座的时候问了大家，听得懂吗？
do you understand? When I got off the Dharma throne, I asked everyone. Nobody said they understood.
我自己也看不懂。
And I also did not understand.
我做一个很简单的比喻，
Let me give a very simple analogy.
什么叫做开悟？
What is enlightenment?
今天是
Today
圣观音第一护法法，
is Arya Avalokiteswara, wealthiest person Dharma, and we have gold here.
这是1公斤，
This is 1
1公
kilogram,
斤的黄金
1 kilogram of
1
gold.
kilo 现在1公斤，
Now, 1 kilo.
连起上师现在1公斤
I asked Master Lian Qi,
多少钱？
how much is it in US dollars now?
他看了一下
And he checked
他自己的这个计算出来的，
and he calculated it.
现在是美金107000块，
107,000 US dollars.
107000块。
107,000
这
dollars
里有一块，
for 1 kilogram of gold.
是伊丽莎白
And this is the Elizabeth
英国
II.
女王纪念
It's
黄金的币，
it's a memoir for the
本
Queen
身
of
的
England
价值
of
就有
Britain,
3000美元，但是黄金也是1公斤，
but it's also 1 kilogram. It's worth 3,000
就是11万，
US dollars. So this is
11万嘛，
110,000 dollars.
7000
This one is
两
107,000
个加
dollars.
起来，
And this together,
大家爱不爱？
Queen Elizabeth II. So do you love them? Yes.
好了，黄金呢？大家看呢？
So look at them.
亮晶晶的，
Gold, shiny.
现在世界上最贵的就是黄金。
Now, the most expensive thing on earth is gold.
都会
Diamonds
变值啊，
depreciate.
钻石会变值，是钻石本身的价钱不等。
It's the value of diamonds do not keep, but the price for gold is standardized.
大家都爱黄金。
So everyone loves gold.
我现在举例子哦，
So I'm giving examples. This is
大家都
analogy.
爱黄金。
Everyone loves gold, shiny gold.
闪耀光芒，金色的，
It's dazzling, golden color.
我再拿一个东西给大家看，
Now let me show you another thing.
这是什么？
What is this?
石头，
A rock.
大家喜欢吗？
Do you like it? You like it?
这是石头，
This is a rock, a piece of rock.
价值多少？
What is it worth?
这个东西在我刚刚是叫莲叶上师啊。
Just now, I asked Master Lin Yen to pick up a rock.
不用钱，你就可以在
It's free.
地上捡到石头。
You can just pick up a rock on the ground.
这是黄金，这是石头。
And this is gold and this is rock.
释迦牟尼佛问，
Sakyamuni Buddha asked,
卢胜彦问，
Today, I, Sung Yen Lu, ask, of these two things,
一样还是不一样？
are they the same or not the same?
是一样也是不一样。
It's the same and it's not
一
the
样的
same.
话，这两样东西
It's the same
是矿物，
because these two are minerals.
从矿里面
They
挖出来的。
were mined from the mine.
黄金也是矿物，
The rocks
只是一
and
样。
gold, they're the same. They're both minerals.
你们认为石头跟黄金是不一样，
And you think that rocks and gold are
也有它的
different.
道理，
That makes sense
这个没有什么
too,
价值，
because
上捡就有。
this one is worthless. You
这个在
can
路上你捡
pick
不到，
on the road everywhere, but this one you cannot.
是一样是矿物质，
They're both minerals. They both
也是不一样，
came from the mines, but they were also different. One is
这
worthless,
有价值。
one is worthy.
开悟在哪里？
So where is the enlightenment?
这两样东西，
These two things
所有的众生都带不走。
cannot be brought by all sentient beings. You cannot
只
take
能
them
够
with
暂
you.
时拥有，你暂时
They are only yours temporarily, at most a few
你一
decades.
样也带不走。
Just loaned to you to enjoy for a few decades, and you
什么是开悟？
cannot bring it with you. What is enlightenment?
这个你也
This
是无所得，
Is
得不到它，
unattainable. You cannot attain it. You
也
cannot,
是无所得。
and
你也
this
得不
you
到它
all.
的，
This is also unattainable. You cannot attain it.
它的开悟
You cannot gain.
无所得。
So the enlightenment is the unattainability. You cannot gain any of them.
我只是做一个简单的比喻，
I just give a simple
像
analogy
弥陀的比喻。
because nobody understood Sakyamuni Buddha's analogy, so I give you this analogy, the simple analogy for you.
黄金
Gold
是矿物，
is mineral.
石头
Rock
矿物，
is also mineral. They're the same.
这个你看是
This
石头，
you see it as a rock, worthless.
那是源于你自己本身的眼光
That's because of your own viewpoint
看，
to view it, that's
用你的
worthless.
眼光去看，这个是有价值。
And then you use your viewpoint to see this to be worthy.
同样的东西，
They're both the same things. They're both minerals.
但是唯一的，你的真正的
The only
是因为
true
你也
enlightenment
得不到石头，
is that you will
你
not
也得不到黄金，
be able to gain the rock.
无所
You
得。
will not be able to gain the gold. So this nothing to gain or unattainability is the
只是
enlightenment.
做一个简单的比喻，让大家知道什么叫做开悟。
So I just give a simple analogy what
因为一出来，
enlightenment is.
大家都讲，
Because leaving the temple, everybody said, "What is enlightenment?"
讲了半天，还是不知道。
After talking about it so much, they still did not know. So that's why I give this simple analogy.
你悟到了，
Once you're enlightened, your heart mind will not move. You will not move seeing the gold
只是让你呆看几十，
because it's only loaned to you for a few decades.
你看到石头，你本来心就不动了。
And seeing the rock, your heart is not moved anyway to start with.
被这个
So that's because your eyes are deluded by the sense
所以在喜
dust
欢跟不喜欢，爱
or
跟
the
不爱，
sensory
有价
objects.
值没有价值，
That's why
这样子
you
来
have
来去
likes
来
and
去
dislikes
一直在轮回。
and also worthiness or
人就
worthlessness,
是因为这样
and then circling around in the vicious
所迷惑
circle. And humans are like that. They are always deluded
一直在
by
轮回，
the
在造业。
external environment, and then they continue to cycle in the
如果
rebirth
你心
cycle
不动，
and creating karma. But if your heart mind is
对
unmoved,
任何东西看起来都是一样，
and then you treat everything you see the same equally,
心静止下来，
and your heart mind quiet down, serene, unmoved,
就叫做明心。
that's called the radiant mind or the lucid mind,
这个就是开悟。
and that's called understanding of the mind, and that is the
我再
enlightenment.
做一个比喻，
Let me give you another analogy.
禅宗啊，
Uh,
楞严经有点像禅宗，
koan.
讲的有点像禅宗。
So Surangama is a little bit like Zen Buddhism. But they also say Surangama is also Tantric Buddhism because it has the Surangama
就
mantra.
像禅宗，
It looks like Zen Buddhism too.
有一个叫做一指禅，人家问他
There is
什么
something
叫做明
called
心见性，
uh,
什么叫做活
one word
举
Zen,
一个指头，
one finger Zen. So what is enlightenment? What is true understanding of the mind, seeing the Buddha nature?
不明白
Just one finger. If you understand, you
这叫一
understand.
指禅，
If you don't understand, you don't understand. That's called one finger
他底下的弟
Zen.
子看到了，你要问他什么叫
And
做
then
开悟明心，
the disciples underneath ask,
他也举一指，
what is enlightenment?
也不说话。
What is understanding of the mind? What is seeing the Buddha nature? And then he just also showed the one finger.
叫一指禅，
That's called the one finger Zen.
这个学他那一
And when the guru, the master, saw the disciple copying
把
him,
刀子把他的指头砍断，
and then he took a knife and chopped off the finger.
弟子问他什么是开悟，
And this disciple asked him, what is enlightenment?
一指。
The master showed the one finger,
没有啊，没有指
but
头
the disciple was going to show the finger and no more finger. He could not
那
show.
就叫你开悟。
That's to teach you to be enlightened.
有指头也是开悟，
It's enlightenment whether you have
无
the
指头
finger
也是开悟。
or when you don't have the finger.
释迦牟尼佛讲说，
Sakyamuni
你看
Buddha
到我
said,
光明前没有？
did you see my radiant face? Yes.
我如果没有手背了，
But if I don't have no arm, what would
阿
you
难讲
see?
说我什么都没看到，
And Ananda said, then I wouldn't see anything.
就是阿难不懂。
And Ananda did not understand.
没有手就没有光明前，
Without the hand, there would be no radiant fist. And when you extend the arm, there is a radiant fist. When you don't extend the arm, there is no radiant fist. But the Buddha nature is eternally present.
就
The
是开悟。
immovable
那个才叫
mind
心
is enlightenment. Only that is called the mind.
所以我这样做一个比喻。
So I'm giving you an analogy to let you know why Sakyamuni Buddha said, if I have no arm,
如何成光明前？
how can I form the radiant
你
fist?
没有眼睛，
If you
你
have
如
no
何看到光
eyes,
明前？
how can you see the radiant fist?
这就是开悟的所在。
That's
所以我跟大家这样子
the
讲，
enlightenment.
这个什么叫做开悟？
So now I clearly explain what is enlightenment. What enlightenment is, as spoken in the Surangama
就
Sutra.
可以明白
If you understand this from this
什么
point,
叫做开悟。
and you will understand, as we continue, you will understand what enlightenment is.
我们今天修的是圣观音，
Today we practice Arya Avalokitesvara Wealthiest Dharma.
你成了佛是
true
真正的富啊。
True wealthy person is when you become a Buddha.
世间的一切
Everything else on
让
earth
你看，
are just
迷
to
惑你的。
are just for you to see, to tempt you.
活着的时候，
temporarily
世间的一切
Of course, when you're alive and you have everything you want on earth, it's a good
可
thing.
以做善
You
事，
can perform charity, you can give, you can help others.
行善最乐。
That the happiest is to do goods. So you still want to be the wealthiest person on earth and to be the wealthiest person in heavens.
成佛做主，
And the wealthiest person in heavens is
人间的第一富
to
豪
become a
只是
Buddha.
暂时，
And the wealthiest person on earth is only temporary for
最
you
终还是
to
没有。
enjoy. But ultimately, it's also nothing.
但是在人间也不要受太多的苦。
But
你穷了哦，
don't suffer too much on earth, because if you're poor and have no money at all on you, and you can't even afford a bus, getting on the bus.
所以在人间呢、你也要做第一富豪。
So therefore, you also want to be the wealthiest person on earth, and also in heavens.
这是最重要。好，
That's the most important.
所以圣观音第一富豪法，
So Arya Avalokitesvara, the wealthiest Dharma practice, the mantra,
就是圣观音。
Om Mani Padme
大
Hum.
扎不者，就是天下第一。
Arya Avalokitesvara, Tajapuja is the
就
first
是财富了。
under the heavens, Guruya, the first. And that's the wealthiest, and Soha, complete.
大扎不者，就是财富。
Om Mani Padme Hum is Arya Avalokitesvara, Tajapuja is wealth, Guruya is number one, and Soha is perfect. Perfect.
所以我们圣观音第一富豪法，
So our Arya Avalokitesvara wealthiest
你修成了
Dharma
跟圣观音
practice,
相应，
not only the wealthiest on
到
earth,
西方极乐世界，
but if you have attainment of fruition in your practice, you can go to Sugawati, and then when you become a Buddha in the future,
天上的第一富豪，
you are the wealthiest one in heavens
他的手印呢，
and under heavens. And the mudra is this, number one,
第一
number
他的
one,
手就是他的手印。
the wealthiest, number one.
那我们呢，是这个金银财宝
And for us,
无穷尽的金银财宝，
gold, silver, and treasures inexhaustible.
哇，
The treasure chests here. Wow. Wow.
财宝
All the precious jewels as offerings.
全部都是金银财宝。
Gold, silver, and treasures.
这百宝箱算是小的啦，
That's a treasure chest.
真正的
It's
富豪是一个仓库都是。
considered small, but the true wealthy person has the whole storage.
我堂兄啊，
My
卢
cousin
朝房，
Lu Cao Huang,
我的堂兄卢朝房，
my
在澎
cousin,
湖小石角
my paternal
盖了一个
cousin,
卢氏的宗室，
in Lu Sijiao, Penghu, built an ancestral
就
shrine of the Lu
河北
clan. We came from Huanyang, Hebei province, to Huanyang, Fujian province, to Huanyang in Penghu, Taiwan.
湖小直角，
At Xiaozhijiao,
这个
Penghu,
叫骰树，
Xiyi,
这个小直角就是跨海大桥过去。
Xiaozhijiao. So it's across the ocean bridge.
当初的时候，我祖父也
That's
在那里，
for our
家的
Lu
兄弟就
family. My grandfather was there before,
堂兄
Lu Chang, and his brother Lu Qiao, and this is his son,
我去盱眙
Chao
看
Huang.
我的堂兄，
So I went to Xiyi to visit my cousin. He was at the Ma Gong
很早
Penghu
的商店，这个
had
中国商行
a store,
很早，
a very old store called Chinese Business, and make
他
a
说
lot of money. He was very wealthy.
我去的时候，他请我去看
When I went there,
是的宗室，
he took me to visit the ancestral shrine for the Lu
是
clan
换阳，
and to consecrate it.
福建换阳，一直到澎湖放阳，
So our origin
放阳。
was from Huanyang, Hubei, Huanyang, Fujian to Huanyang,
一直
Penghu.
移到了台湾嘉义，
And then
嘉义
we immigrated to Jiayi, and my grandfather was also very wealthy.
6个老婆，没有钱哪里起6
A
个？
tycoon, my grandfather Lu Chang married 6 wives. If you had no money, how could you marry so many wives? My father was given birth by the 3rd wife, but down to my father, there was no money left.
卢桥的儿子在
But
澎湖，
Lu Qiao's son, Lu Cao Huang in Penghu,
是全家便利商店吧，有21家。
he owned Family Mart.
当初
Oh, he supplied all the 21 Family Mart stores there, and also had several cinemas, theaters. I went to his house and he collected many
整个房
antiques.
间这么大的房间，
A huge room like this Homa Hall.
那护摩宝殿这样大，他的床就在中间。
And his bed at the center, and surrounded by antiques all around. He loved
尤其
antique,
是红珊瑚，
especially the red coral.
红色的珊瑚摆满整个周围，还有古董，红珊瑚
So the red coral
那么小小的一个红珊瑚
antiques, and I
到
asked,
底多少钱？
like
我
little
说3000万台币。
red coral that big. What is its worth? I asked. Oh,
他们夫妻
30 million NT dollars.
周围全部古董的中央。
And the couple slept in the middle of all those antiques. Lu Cao Huang.
就是我的堂兄。
That's my paternal cousin.
有没有钱？有啊。
Is he wealthy? Yes. He's a
卧房这么大，
he's a tycoon in Penghu.
周围全部都是古董。
This big of a bedroom, and he sleeps in the middle, surrounded by antiques all over. About last month,
他离开人间，
he passed away.
我的堂兄离开人间，
My paternal
还有
cousin
那个堂嫂，汤眼，
and
堂兄还早离开人间。
and his wife left earlier than my cousin.
古董有没有带走？
So did they bring the antiques with them? Of course not.
还有他的后代，有7个女儿，
And they had 7 daughters,
真7仙女。
7 daughters, 7 goddesses.
我现在也不清楚，他那些古董哪里去了。
So I don't know what happens to the antiques.
所以大家要想一想，
So think about it,
开悟就在这里。
that the enlightenment is right here.
我们人的眼睛呢、
Our human eyes are completely controlled by our 6 desires. Our body too is controlled by desires. That's why we are in the endless rebirth. That's the fundamental root of birth and death and rebirth. If you can truly understand the mind and see the nature,
存着你的妙，
you can transcend life and death
你才能够脱离轮回。
and to follow your wondrous, radiant, true mind to be liberated from the cycle of birth and death.
以无所得故，
That's enlightenment. In the Heart Sutra, the Bodhisattvas rely on the unattainability. And it's also mentioned in the Vimalakirti Sutra. Manjusri Bodhisattva,
这个善花天女问舍利佛，
and the goddess who scatters flowers asked Sariputra,
你是以什么得？
how did you
舍利佛回答：
gain enlightenment? How did you attain arhatship?
得正
And
阿罗汉。
Sariputra replied, through
因为
unattainability
无所得，
to
你才
prove
证得阿罗汉。
arhatship. Because of unattainability, I attain
所有的
arhatship.
都是因为无所得，
And the goddess replied,
成就活菩萨。
all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas attain bodhisattvahoods and Buddhahoods through unattainability.
所以你如果为娑婆世界
So,
财色
if
名所
you are deluded by everything in the Saha world, wealth, sensual
你
pleasures,
就是在生死
fame, sleep,
的根本当中，
food, and the 6 senses,
你能够不被迷惑，
then you're amidst the fundamentals of birth and death. But if you're not deluded and you can maintain your wondrous, radiant, true mind, then you can be liberated from the rebirth cycle. Only this is called enlightenment.
所以今天跟大家
Therefore, today I'm telling you what is
我
enlightenment.
是特别讲给大家听，
I especially explain it for you
谁
all.
是主人，谁是客。
Who is the host and who is the guest?
我们在娑婆世界都当客人，
We are all guests in the Saha world.
搬家搬来搬去，搬来搬去。
We move homes here and there, but which home is your true home?
你自己的家你都回不了，
You can't even go back to your own
自己的
home.
主人都做不了。
You can't become your
到处
own
流浪
master,
六道轮回
but you're
到处流浪
traveling in the rebirth cycles.
你永远都是客，
So you're
你
always
找
just
不
a
到你自己
guest.
原来的你是主
You
人。
cannot find your own state of being a master or the host.
这样大概有点明白了。
Now you understand a little bit, right?
我先回答你问我答。
Let me reply to
就
this
是你
question in the
1995年8
Q&A.
月19日
Okay, Master,
受咕噜咕噜
you on August 18, 1995, you transmitted the Guru Gule Buddha Mother Uncommon Great Dharma,
心间放光时
and
高举所
you
有的
gave a
菩萨
teaching.
跟他的眷属
At that moment, when you transform into Guru Gule, your heart radiate light. Your heart must emit light to summon, to invoke all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and their retinues to perform
知
empowerment.
道有一个叫做
This empowerment benefits yourself and
是
others.
用
This empowerment
冠
uses a treasure
可以做
vase or
它的
initiation vase.
别扎巴瓦，
We know there's a vase for empowerment that holds water.
这是表示一切的清净。
That's the
想
mantra.
是师尊，可佛观想金刚
And you use
放
it
光加
for yourself or to bathe.
灌顶
This signifies complete
然后持诵
purification.
百日明咒，再持
And
这
then the
个
remaining water can be used to bless the 5 meats, 5 nectars for both inner and outer offerings.
拿来喝及沐浴。弟子想请示师尊，这样
And
做是不是如法？灌顶瓶是
So
弟子亲自购买的。
can I use Vajrasattva reading, like to bless the empowerment vase, and recite the 100 syllable mantra, follow the empowerment mantra above, and then drink or bath with the nectar water inside the vase?
健康永转生活道
So, and I fill the vase with mineral water. So I wish you wealth, health, long life, and continue to stay
你
in
要
Sawa.
做这个，
So Guru Guli Buddha Mother,
你要把它改成这个，好像是说金刚萨埵。
if you want to change it into Vajrasattva,
因为咕噜咕噜佛母啊，它的
Guru Guli Buddha Mother
是属于金刚
is considered a magnetizing deity. If you practice Guru Guli, you can widely deliver sentient beings. But Vajrasattva,
也很大，
of course, is also very
一样
broad.
度众生，
It's also the same delivering sentient beings.
它比较
But
百日明咒是
100 syllable mantra is the same as emptiness.
招请所有的活菩萨跟他的眷属来
So you invoke all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and their retinues to perform
多
empowerment.
尊。我们很
Of course, that's the union of many
这个
deities.
在修法当中，有时候
And in our practice, sometimes it's like this. Like the refuge tree, all the deities there,
敬礼
and I would say,
诸尊，
homage to all the deities on the refuge tree. And how many deities? Countless.
像那个印尼的伊丽莎白
Like Elizabeth from Indonesia
中的皈依，
painted the True Buddha School refuge tree,
它挂在我现在挂在
now hanging at my home.
这个有从上到下是传
From
承
top to bottom,
这边呢
the lineage.
有
And
所谓的
then
佛
the Buddhas,
所谓的菩萨，
the so-called
另外还有
Bodhisattvas,
连结
and Pratika
还有这
Buddhas,
个阿罗汉，
Arhats, all included.
另外还有很多的金刚护法、
And then many Herukas and Dhamma protectors,
普方佛都在里面。
countless of them, 5 Dhyani Buddhas are included.
中间最根本上
At the center is the lineage root guru. And then above the crown, there are all the lineages. That's the refuge
没有
tree.
办法练完，
And so you say all the deities on the refuge tree, a few hundreds of them. and you cannot call on them one by one, and all become drops of lights entering into your body. That's fine. And Vajrasattva is one of them. Vajrasattva represents, or Vajrasattva is the Dharma Prince of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, represent the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, representing. So, altogether, they can transform into light, merging together, and to become the empowerment. So, that's the same that your whole body is filled with Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That should be fine. So, whichever deity you like to bless you, visualize Vajrasattva, radiating light to bless the empowerment vase is fine too. Actually, Vajrasattva represents the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, blessing you the empowerment vase, and you recite 100 syllable mantra, and then followed by the empowerment mantra above, and then drink or bathe with the nectar water. That's fine. That's compliant with the Dharma. Like what's spoken in the Surangama Sutra, the swastika symbol of Sakyamuni Buddha radiated light, shining upon all the Buddha verses in the 10 directions, and on all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and then return to the heads of Ananda and the assembly. So that's light reflecting upon light. It should be fine. That's the reply to Lianhua Zhihao from Malaysia.
Wow,
5:20 now already. We haven't even started on the Surangama Sutra. However, I have shown you enlightenment just now. I demonstrated. Now you know what enlightenment is about. A rock, gold, and gold. Of course you like gold more than a rock, because your eyes view this to be valuable, which is worth $107,000 US. Is it easy to earn that much money? $107,000? It's not easy to earn that much. Not easy. So through a lot of hardships to earn that much. Look, it's shiny, very tempting. That's Queen Elizabeth II memorial gold coin made of 1 kilogram of gold. So 107,000 plus the value of this coin, $3,000 US. So, and made into a memorial coin for Queen Elizabeth II. So this is worth $110,000 US. And this one is worthless. But they both are minerals. But the key point is when you're enlightened, you know that you cannot take with you this piece of rock, and also that you cannot. That is enlightenment. It's called nothing to gain. There is nothing that you can gain. Let me explain the piece. At that time, the world honored one, Sakyamuni Buddha,
他把手伸出来
extended his hand of light adorned with marks like a
这
web
个
of cunning.
紧罗眉，就是一种
Oh, his
印
hand
度的一种棉，
is like
很细很细、最细的棉。
a very soft and fine
那个
cotton,
棉那么细，发着光，开眼睛
radiating light.
5个手指头打开，地水火风空，毁乐阿难，这样子对阿难尊者讲，集诸大众。我出
And unfold the 5 wheel fingers and instructed Ananda in the great assembly.
以鹿言中，鹿言就鹿野宴。
So when I first attained enlightenment at the deer park, Grandmaster and a few disciples had visited the deer park.
初转法轮的地方，
Was the place where Sakyamuni Buddha first turned the Dharma
离这
wheel.
个瓦拉拉西很近，
It's very close to Varanasi.
称为瓦拉拉西。
And we played with the
瓦拉拉
words
西在那里呀、大家都
that
拉
you doom because you have diarrhea.
在恒河旁边有一个城市5000年以上
It's on the bank of the Ganges River. It's a city of 5,000-year-old
瓦拉拉西旁边
Varanasi.
有鹿野宴，
And next to it is the deer park,
初转法轮的地方。
which is the place where Sakyamuni Buddha first turned the Dharma wheel.
丘等阿若多
I said to Ajata,
叫乔前如，乔前如
so the
又翻
first
成乔前那，
bhikshu who became,
乔前那
who followed was called
就是阿
Kaudinya
若多，叫
or
阿若
Ajana,
乔前那
Ajnata.
阿若乔前如，阿若多
So Ajahn,
5个比丘，
Ajata, Kaudinya,
四众也
and the 5 bhikshus
就是
and the fourfold
他
sangha
们讲，
told them, I
对
told
他们
them,
5个人讲，一切众生啊，不成菩提，
all sentient beings fail to realize
不
Puti.
能证得到无上正等
Why?
觉，
All sentient beings cannot attain the Anuttara Samyak
成就阿
Sambodhi
罗汉，
and attain arhatship.
借由课程烦恼所误，
It's because
因为啊，
they're being misled
看到世间的所有的
by
色相，
the afflictions of the
耽误了你
deaths
们
of
在
the
那个
guests.
色相上面，
because
汝等
you
常
see
习
all the sensory phenomena
问无比丘，
and were hindered by them. So Sakyamuni Buddha asked Kaudinya and the 5 bhikshus, how were you enlightened?
啊，你到底是怎么开悟的？
What brought you to
十日
awakening?
乔前那就是乔前儒了，10日乔前那
So at that time, Kaudinya rose and said to the
五比丘
Buddha,
当中的第一个出家的比丘，
which is the
第一个
first
证得阿罗汉的
bhiksu of the 5 bhikshus who became a bhiksu and attained arhatship. He was the first arhat, Kaudinya.
起立白佛，他站起来跟释迦牟尼
He
讲，
rose and said to the Buddha,
他当然是长老，
I am now the senior among the Sangha. Of course, he was the senior because he was the first one who became ordained
释迦僧团第一个出家的
of the Sakya Buddha's,
我今长
Sakyamuni Buddha Sangha.
大众
Kaudinya was the first to become a bhiksu.
在所有的僧团里面，
And among the Sangha, I have alone attained the name, the one who understood.
长老，而且能够
He became an elder
能
and
够
proof
到了阿罗汉，
and attained arhatship.
因悟课程2日成果，
I realize
从课程2个字
the fruition
才证得阿罗汉果。
through the 2 words, guess and does.
所以我不是讲了吗？ 你要想想我们在这沙漠
So I have
轮回的
said
课程
that. Think about it, that our rebirth in
不
samsara
是在人间做客，
is the guest dust. We are just a guest in the
你
human
没有
world.
回到真正自己的家，
You don't go back to
你
your
一直
own
在流浪，
home. You're just wandering around.
就因为你在流浪，
And because you're wandering
被外
around
界所这个迷惑，
and you are deluded by the external environment,
你领悟到了，你是在流浪，没有回到真正的家。
and when you realize that you're just wandering and
成
not
果才证得到阿罗汉
back home,
因
then
为
you're
两
enlightened
个字
and then you attain arhatship.
你只松
So because of the 2 words, guest and
在
dust,
轮回当中流浪的客人，
that you're always just a
世界所
guest
迷惑，
wandering in samsara of birth and death.
你最后才成就阿罗汉。
And because you're deluded by those external
大家
environments,
讲一个比喻了，
you
路行人行客，
kept wandering.
客一个旅客
So it is like a traveler
住在
who lodges at the wayside
或
inn,
吃或住，
whether resting or eating.
吃了住了完毕，
When those are done,
再
you pack up and move
出
on,
门，再继续流浪。
and you continue your wandering. You do not stay. It's impossible for you to stay.
自无，这个字怎么念？
But a true owner
自无，有，就是说，这个饭店的主人
does not go
他
anywhere.
不必去流浪，他就住在这个饭店。
So the owner of the inn does not have to go anywhere or
就是
wander.
这样子想，
So from this I reflected,
你不住在这个饭店里面，你到处走，你就是客人。住在
the one who does not stay is called a
就是
guest.
主人。
The one who stays is the host.
住者名为客意。
The meaning of guest
你是住在这里，然后明
lies
天你又离开，
in its not dwelling.
那你就是客人。这个饭店的主人
So
住
a
在这个
guest
饭店里面，他没
only
不
stays
用离开，
and then leaves.
就像清阳
But the
升
host stays.
光入旭中。
It is also like when the sky clears after a storm.
新斋的意思就是说，刚刚早上起来的太阳，它升在空中，
So
永远都是存在的。光是偏照的，
the
光入
the light is everywhere,
照到任何一个地方的，
and the rays shine everywhere, illuminating the dust
太阳本身
particles
是不动的，
in space. The sun
太阳
does
是
not
不
move,
动的，那个所有的光都是在动的。
but all the rays of light are
太阳
moving.
是主人，
So the sun is the
光
host,
是客人。
and the rays of lights are the guests.
这太阳本身不动，所有的
So the sun is unmoved,
通通都在
but
动。
everything in the Saha world is moving.
虚空即然，这个虚空啊，本来它是很
So
安
the
静
dust stirs, but the empty space remains still and
而
quiet.
即明空，
From this I
澄
reflected,
清了自己，
what is still is called
这个叫
space.
做空。摇
When
动
you
明
quiet down yourself, that's called space or emptiness.
光在摇动，
But what moves is called dust.
一摇动
So
者明
the lights moves, and
这
that's
个
called
在
dust.
动摇动来动去，
So the meaning of dust
就是叫做
is movement.
佛言如是。
And the Buddha said, it is so.
这 这是第二个比喻。
That's the second analogy.
这第二个比喻的意思是讲说，
The meaning of the second analogy is that you need to clearly recognize who is the host and who is the guest.
六道当中轮回了，
Now we are reincarnating in the sixth rebirth realm, and we are all the
你明心
guests.
见性的开悟了，
Once you gain the understanding of the mind and see the nature, then you become the host.
他不动，
And they are
在
unmoved.
那个房子里面，他没有在流浪，
They stay in that house and not continuing the travel. And they're liberated from the cycle of birth and
六
death.
道轮回当中流浪。为什么
But
你
if you
流浪
keep wandering in the rebirth cycle, and why do you keep wandering around? Because you cannot find your own host.
流浪啊，
Because you keep wandering for the sake of wealth, fame, lust, sleep, and food. That's why you're cycling in the rebirth
在六道里面轮回啊。
for wealth, for sensual pleasures
你
and
真正找到
fame.
主人了，开悟了，你就不动，
But once you find the true host,
不动就是开悟。
you're enlightened and you become unmoved. You're not moving
可
anymore.
是所有的光幕在动，
So it's just like the sun. It's unmoved. It's not moving.
虚空本来就是很安静，
But everything else
那些
moves.
动的都是属于客，
The space has always been quiet
也是属于
and still. But everything that's moving is considered dust, including the lights.
心不动。
So Kaundina had enlightenment because of this.
称为杀六
So his heart minds unmoved. So Arhat is called those who have killed the six thieves.
六个劫，
The six thieves are the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind.
他迷惑了你，
They delude you.
你心永远在流浪。
That's why your mind
当你的心
endlessly wander. Once your mind is enlightened
知道
and you see yourself and know
娑婆世界六道当中轮回，
that you cannot continue the rebirth cycle in samsara,
妙明
that would be the non-arising and non-ceasing, wondrous, radiant, true
就
mind.
是这样。
And the Buddha said, that is so.
今天都没有讲笑话了，
I haven't told any jokes today.
我今天讲的都是重点哦。我告诉你哦，
I'm talking about the key points only today. All I talk about today are the key points.
黄金跟
If I don't explain it this way with the analogy of gold and rock,
什么叫做
you're still confused what enlightenment is.
不管你有手没有手，
Whether you have hands or
心
not,
都不动，
your heart mind is unmoved. Only then is
不
called
管你有眼
enlightenment.
没有眼，
Whether you have eyes or not, your heart mind is unmoved.
你要
Only
领会
then is
什么是
enlightenment.
主，什么是
You need to understand what is unattainability and what is the host and what is the guest.
人间的过客。
That's why we are all
大家都
just
是还在
travelers in the human world,
拼钱，
because we are all still striving. Striving for what? For money. We want to earn money or for fame, name.
大头病的都在拼命呢，大头病啊，都在拼命呢，
What is
都有病。
the
你看他们在争来争去，争来争去，
those fighting,
在
competing?
拼命而已啊。
They're just striving for name or fame.
我就是要占领这一块土地，在拼土地。
Or they fight for territory, a piece of land.
你占领那个地
But the
方，
land has always been unmoved and you cannot take it with you. So why are you occupying it? But still, everybody
面子哎，
is still fighting for what? For
面
face.
子问题耶。
for face, for recognition. That's fame. That's called name. Who is more powerful? And the big that country said, I am. And the other country said, I am. And then the little countries just kept quiet.
就是在为了个名，
Just for reputation, money,
我不
name.
是吗？
I don't dare to criticize anything. I don't talk politics.
因为批评了就会给你戴一个帽子，就给你送走。
Else they would put a hat on you and send you off.
你看那个马祖啊，看到马祖出行啊，看到那个
So,
赶快转身就走。
when Ma Zhu was parading around the streets and saw the politician, then she turned around and left. That would be troublesome otherwise. Om Mani Padme Hum.
非常感谢法门圣尊言。